No. It wasn't that offensive. I was gonna say I didn't watch the NFL draft because to me it just feels like everybody trying to qualify for the Olympics of CTE and nobody wins.
Welcome back to the Jojitorium. You know who it is. It's the King with the boys. Same usual cast of characters back in the studio for another action-packed episode. And I can't be any happier to announce that we've made it. We have 10 episodes. Kinda. We have 11 really, but 10 episodes that have come to you through all the different platforms. And I hope that we can continue to record many, many more. Hopefully everyone's having a good time listening to us, and I want to just thank Adam and Josh for spending the time with me to do these podcasts, and it's just been a blast. So happy 10 episodes, guys.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, you too, man.
Happy 10 episodes, and here's the 10 more.
Happy 10 and a half.
The enthusiasm is just overflowing here. I'm really happy. I came here with a
we're on our way to 20.
We're on our way to 20, baby. So if you are listening to us, which you are right now, because clearly you hear me saying this, you like all kinds of beer. And you like that variety of beer is easily acquired. So just to let you know, Creekside Beer has you covered. This wonderful beer mecca located in Swickley, PA has a virtual store right on their website at creeksidebeer.com where you can filter your search down to the exact style that you want. Oh, and you want to stick right to the Berg? Check out their #DrinkPittsburgh tab to see the almost never-ending supply list of the best beers of the Berg. Follow Creekside Beer on all social media at Creekside Beer and find them on Untappd under the same name. All the beer lists change and update daily. So, guys, I'm happy because I finally get to sit here and not be a total loser, and it feels really good. In a race of 3, I finished second.
Hey, that's silver medal, baby.
Silver medal, and also Bets of Doom. Bets of Doom. My triumphant return, and might I say, Mystic Matt. I called the main event.
I was going to get into that.
I called a striking KO, and I can't believe I got to do that. And it feels good. That's the reason why I didn't finish last. So, Josh, it's time to recap your bets of doom. All right. So before we get started, like I said before, Josh lost. So everyone knows that Josh lost because Josh lost this one. And I got to pick the punishment because I'm number 2. And I'm going to let you know that you're not going to know what it is until I actually bring the punishment to you. All I want you to know is... to be
fair, we said the winner picks the punishment. The second place has to pay for it.
Right.
Done.
However,
but
if you remember,
we colluded.
I figured there was more collusion from the Vunder team.
Tons of collusion. And I'm going to let you know right now, it took a purchase on my part, and it's going to take some extra effort on my part, but I want to make sure that I bring you something from my heart to you. And I feel you're going to enjoy it partially, but the other part of you is going to just be like, why is this happening to me? And all I have to say to that is, be better. Be better, Josh.
That's fine. You know, up until now, we've revealed what the punishment was when we recap, but yeah. I'm not going to be a little bitch about it. I'll take my L. I won't complain the day of. It's fine.
I will say it sounds like Matt's trying to break you, much like Matt Wyman's leg.
True.
Oh, dear God.
Not only Matt Wyman, Jimmy Crouton.
Yep. Poor Jimmy Crouton. So we're speaking about UFC 261, about the triumphant KO delivered by Usman, the triumphant win of Mystic Matt, the triumphant loss of Josh, however that works out. So Josh, if you could please take us through UFC 261 and let people know how it turned out.
I mean, at this point, are you sure you want me to run it down? You've been on like a 5-minute tirade here.
I like how you changed the pentameter and cadence of tirade to make it whatever you want to make it. But no, it's your segment, so I want you to take it through, and I want you to really savor the results.
So, like you said, we did 261 for the Bets of Doom, and it was actually a really good card because all 5 fights ended in either a KO or a TKO, and I don't remember the last time a card has done that. It's been a while since we've had 5 solid fights. Now, the first fight that we'll start with is the Anthony Smith versus Jimmy Crute. I've been calling him Crouton because he crumbled.
Yeah, I just get Crute.
Yeah, he definitely crumbled.
I'll give him credit. He really tried. Like he got up, he kept walking in. He's like, no, let's fucking go. But at the end of the day, it's about the safety of the fighters. And his leg was obviously shattered. So Anthony Smith took the W there.
And in our defense, we all picked Mr. Crute. And
we did.
He would have won that fight if it wasn't for a medical stoppage, I believe.
Yeah,
still.
Correct.
He looked like a beast in that first round until that leg went out.
But I really think that it goes back to something we talked about, though, with Anthony Smith having that veteran presence, and he really relied on that. He had a good fight strategy and did come to a medical stoppage, but I kind of believe that's Anthony Smith fighting a smart fight.
It definitely could be. I'm not gonna deny that.
Now, where I was garnering some hope that night was in the second fight. We had Uriah Hall versus Chris Weidman. And ironically, Chris Weidman took the L because he broke his leg in the same fashion that Anderson Silva did when they fought.
It's karma breaking.
Oh, yeah, coverage. For sure.
Yeah.
He threw the leg kick, it got checked, and immediately you knew.
Snap.
Oh.
Yeah, that ankle went sideways, done.
Yeah.
Like
a Kit Kat.
The most gruesome part of that, too, not even just like the break itself, but when it flopped back and he tried to step on it to catch his balance, like he didn't quite know what happened yet. And then it bent again, like Psycho Sid going off the top rope. It was just.
It was. Great callback. It was exactly like the Psycho Sid break.
Yeah. So just, I know Weidman lost, but for Christ's sake, from Decaying with the Boys, I hope Chris Weidman's leg heals properly. He can do something in the fight game. That was a brutal break, and that sucks. Ooh.
Yeah, I saw a report from him to social media. It's gonna be a couple months until he's able to stand on it. So
Jesus, man.
I mean, get well as soon as possible. Hope to see you back in the fight game, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a fucking legend in the sport. So I mean,
I will say there is precedence here because Anderson Silva, even at an older Anderson Silva than what Chris Weidman is now, was able to come back from it. He hasn't been the same, and you can tell. So I hope it doesn't affect Chris Weidman too much. But I have faith that he can come back.
Yeah, I'd like to see him come back. Like Adam said there, and also Josh too. There's a lot of things that play in his favor. He does have some youth. He is in incredible shape, so hopefully that plays to his benefit. And I just don't want to see someone like Chris Weidman, who has at least 2 to 3 more huge fights in his time, because he's in his prime, really. I mean, he's fighting strong, except for his leg wasn't so strong. Hopefully that. Ooh, sorry, Chris Weidman.
His leg.
That's a bad joke. He could probably still beat my ass with one leg. So sorry, Chris Weidman. I apologize.
Yeah. He'll ride his little scooter up to you.
I'll take it. Yeah, and he'll just beat the shit out of me.
So then on the third fight is when we moved into the title fights. And this was where we actually saw a fight go out of the first round.
Yeah.
And it was the Valentina Shevchenko versus Jessica Andrade fight that we saw Shevchenko, as we all knew, was going to basically dominate through this fight.
Yeah.
and she ended up getting the KO win in the second round.
Yeah, I will say this fight went a little quicker than I thought it was going to, but ended how I expected. I thought it might go into the third, possibly the fourth round, with Andrade being a great opponent, a strong opponent, but Valentina Shevchenko just showing her dominance, pure dominance in that weight class.
Shevchenko did exactly what she's known to do, and that's come out and absolutely laid down a beating. And she's a powerhouse right now, and she holds that belt proudly. I like to see her continue on with she's not fighting easy opponents. I mean, she's taking on the best of that weight class. So I give her a lot of credit. She's not taking paper opponents. She's taking on legit contenders.
Yeah, I mean, she's going to start lapping opponents here in a little bit. There's going to be re-contenders that just are still going to get dominated, in my opinion. She's what Nunez is in those top two weight classes. And I mean, you don't immediately say, let's make a title fight to split the weight classes again. You don't need Nunez holding 3 titles, but it is a money-making fight eventually. I don't think you do that yet. I think you let both of them beat through their weight classes a little bit more and see what happens. But eventually, that's where it's going to have to go.
And it's actually funny you brought that up, all of that, because that was exactly what I was about to say. Was she's about to start lapping? I think on her next opponent, you'll start seeing those repeat fights, and she is dominating, like Adam said, like Amanda Nunez is. I wouldn't necessarily look at a title fight, like a Nunez versus Shevchenko for a title. I would actually think you would see it more like a catchweight fight.
Yeah.
Like a super fight.
Cool. You would split the weight in half. Yeah, do the super fight, split the weight, because I think they can just ball out.
Yeah, and just throw it on a card with another title fight.
I don't even think you would need that.
We'll see.
We'll see.
What
you could do? You could put together that Conor McGregor sideshow he's trying to put together and have McGregor fight somebody ridiculous at the same time and just have just ridiculous super catch fights all the way through the card. I don't think you need a title fight on there.
Yeah, that could work.
Just see a bunch of ridiculous.
I'm not. Yeah, and I'm not saying Nunez couldn't carry the card by herself. I just think you need to build Shevchenko. Oh, Jesus Christ. Shevchenko up. I can't say it right now. Valentina up as a contender.
Smart move.
Valentina already got beat by her a couple times. So you gotta build her up a little bit, make her look like a contender again for Nunez to be worthy of it. And you can do that. It's easy for the UFC to do that. Just have her lap a couple fighters. Throw 2 or 3 more fighters in her path. Put Nunez under 2 more fights, and then let them meet in a year and see what happens with a full crowd at a big stadium.
Oh wow,
full crowd,
that'd be a
half card.
Yeah.
Basically, you could run this like a better version of what Triller is trying to do with their boxing.
Shevchenko, I got it now.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
Everything is better than Triller. Everything is better than Triller.
I don't know. Triller has Urkel, buddy.
Yeah, everything's better than Triller. Sorry, Stefan Urkel.
What we got next?
I liked you on Family Matters, but I don't give a shit about you in the fight game. So, yeah, whatever.
So then moving on with the co-main event, this is where Matt caught some ground, and he was back and forth on this one.
I was.
Let's get you can say Matt caught some ground. Adam cemented his win.
You did.
Yes.
The win was cemented for Adam here, and it became a fight between me and Matt because Matt went back and forth on this fight when he was picking. I actually had to write it down and scratch it out once or twice because he had me fooled with how he was going back and forth.
Oh, let's not drop the ball that you spoiled my pick, completely spoiled and shat on my pick before I made it. let's not overlook that. You couldn't wait to jump in.
Only because I said I knew who you were picking.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't say anything about the fight. I just said I think I know who you're going to pick for this.
Which is fourth wall breaking, by the way.
So we had Weili Zhang versus Rose
Namajunas.
Namajunas.
Put some respect on that name, because Thug Rose took her out in the first round with a head kick. Jesus.
It's the first round TKO, and I like
learn her name, the first women's champion to reclaim her title, something that Ronda Rousey couldn't do. Woo, baby!
Actually, that's news. I didn't know that.
Yes, that is news. She is the first woman. She deserves the Hall of Fame spot above Rousey. Thank you very much. Right below Nunez. Thank you very much. Thug Rose, my woman. And she won this fight and brought a tear to my eye, brother, because to be the woman, you got to beat the woman. And she did it. Thug Rose. And I'm done. Thank you, Thug Rose.
What a sick promo. That's what you get here in the Jojitorium. Good Lord, man.
I've never felt that strongly about a fighter in my life. She is a young woman that put her heart into this thing, coming out with just a really hard a really hard upbringing and just brought it. And I mean, it's a story. If you got to look up her story to know how much passion there is with that. And her husband dropped out of the fight game to coach her. It's a beautiful relationship. It's a beautiful story. There's nothing more I can say. I cut the promo. Good for Thug Rose. She was the underdog. She was the underdog again, and again being the stronger ground fighter, knocked the opponent out. Nobody counted on her knocking her out, just like they didn't count on her knocking out in her first fight, and it happened. So
I didn't even count on her knocking her out in the first fight.
I'm so
either.
Proud.
If you go back and my deciding factor, I said her ground game is superior. I thought if she went to the ground, there's no stopping her. She's a little ball of hate, and she was just going to tackle Zhang and it would be over. So I underestimated her striking ability as well. But I'm still happy that I picked her to win, because that set up the final fight between Josh and I.
It did.
It sure did.
And like you said, for the main event, we had Usman versus Masvidal. And we all picked Usman on this one. I did waver back and forth, because in my heart I wanted Masvidal, but I couldn't go with the heart. I had to go with the mind, because I knew Usman was just gonna be too much for Masvidal. I didn't think it was gonna be a second round. I actually picked the fourth round KO.
I know,
and that's where you came in over the top with the second round.
Mystic Matt. It's Mystic Matt. I called it. I should have said the minute. I should have called it down to the hand that he delivered it with. It is a knockout real fight. And I can't believe it happened, because I don't win jack shit. I don't understand how to pick anything that revolves around sports or betting. But for Christ's sake, for the first time when I needed it the most, Mystic Matt picked, like, Clue, Professor Usman in the octagon with his fist in the second round for the title defense.
To come in second place.
Yeah. Matt doesn't win shit, bro. You still didn't win.
It doesn't matter. You placed third out of a race of 3, so you suck. Be better. Like you the whole time last time. Be better. Be better. I don't care that I'm not first, because I ain't last, baby. You are.
So,
and that's fine. I accept it.
Oh, it's fine.
So a little peek behind.
Shut up.
A little peek. A little peek behind the curtain for me, humble brag. I tried to close out my FanDuel account by betting everything I had in the account on my picks I made, and then I won. So I'm stuck with my FanDuel account for a little bit longer, and I have a little bit more money. I should probably just cash out at this point. It was a lucky thing on my get. I really thought I was going to go out on that Thug Rose pick, and I'm glad I didn't. But hey, it was a great night of fights. I'm really glad we did.
It really was.
UFC
261.
And congratulations to you.
Yes.
Congratulations Congratulations to Mystic Matt for coming in second, not last.
Thank you. It's hard being this mediocre, but not terrible. And I promise the
hey,
people
maybe
who are
we'll win the
listening-
next one.
No, probably not. I hope they'll play second. That's my goal. And whenever I take first, it'll be like I'll come out of nowhere, and then I won't know what to do with myself. If I'm bragging this bad about second place, when I take first, you guys better just not come to the studio to record the podcast for the first half an hour.
You just better hope you don't lose the next one.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you right now,
because of the braggadocious.
When you take on this punishment, I know that I'm painting a target on my back. I know that. But I couldn't pass up the chance to do what I'm going to do. And it's going to be wonderful for me.
Although, to be fair, I will say, at this point, I think we got to try to knock Adam down.
No. At this point, I want to say, because I was so frightened by Matt's punishment, I just passed the crown to him. I was like, you pick it and pay for it. Go ahead, brother. Because he was so passionate about punishing you.
All I can say, brother.
Which is
still
really funny, because I didn't even pick the cold snap. I'm just getting the brunt end of it. So that's fine.
He knows that.
Sat over
there. He knows I picked it and paid for it.
You relished in it.
You did relish in it more than I did. I bought it, but you relished in it.
Oh, I did relish.
Oh, do you taste
only
the
because of how much complaining there was leading up to this. I relished in it. I'm not gonna lie. So that's why I'm not gonna give you the satisfaction.
I don't give a shit. I can't wait for you to have to indulge in this punishment.
It's okay.
Yep. It's okay until that punishment hits, and baby, I can't wait. Oh yeah, it's gonna be good. Speaking of bragging, I know. Speaking of bragging, and people who do too much, and I am now counting myself among the ranks of being a complete fuckstick. Jake Paul was at UFC 261. Now, the only reason why I even want to bring up Jake Paul is because he decided that he was going to stir the fans up, do what he does best, which is not be good at anything besides being an asshole. He's Brad Marchand, not on the ice. So that's what he does. So Perfect. He went after some of the most relevant fighters, past and present, right now that we're aware of. It finally looks like Jake Paul might take on someone who can actually fight. No ill towards Ben Askren, but he had a hip replacement and he'd been out of the fight game for a couple years, and he was a wrestler, not a boxer. So
absolutely.
I got a little bit of a rundown here because the list is a little extensive. So I took some of the best ones here. First and foremost, Mr. DC, Mr. Cormier, DC, the heavyweight champ. After Paul made easy work of Askren, DC joked about it on Twitter, suggesting the fight wasn't on the up and up, which I can agree with. I think that stoppage was dog shit. However,
well, I don't think the stoppage was dog shit. I think the whole fight was just planned. Like, I think the whole thing was set up. That man, he knocked Askren out, and 20 seconds later, they had Pyro ready to go while he jumped on the top rope.
Absolutely.
Come on, man.
I think
set up.
That fight was horrible. It was horrible. Even if you're a fan of boxing, which I am to a certain degree, it was a terrible fight. There were no mechanics. There was nothing to it that made me think that it was a legitimate boxing match. It was like Rough and Rowdy down in West Virginia. It was just two guys throwing weird haymakers at each other.
Absolutely.
I think, though, too, that DC understands that Jake Paul is really good at stirring the pot. So he did make comments towards, Jake Paul making his money. But I think Daniel Cormier said, if you want to fight me, we have to do it in a cage, which I would go bankrupt spending money to watch that, because it would just be, I want to see a dead body. And that's when you would see a dead body. DC is an Olympic level wrestler. He'll choke the shit out of this stupid kid.
And that's the thing. The level at which DC is actually at, he's earned the right to say to call it how he wants to call it. Like, he doesn't have to go down to the level of Jake Paul in a boxing ring. Name for his name, yeah, Jake Paul's got the YouTube behind him. He's got the old Nickelodeon shit that he did. But DC is a world-class fighter, 2 weight class champion.
Yeah.
If he doesn't think he needs to drop down to box Jake Paul, and if Jake Paul wants to fight him so much, DC says, come to MMA, DC deserves the right to call that out.
So, speaking of call-outs, when DC was throwing it out there that he would take him into the cage, the man we just celebrated, Mr. Usman, said, nah, DC, you got too much respect for that, homie. Let me take care of it. How much money would you guys pay to see that fight go down in anything? I'd like to see it K1 kickboxing style. If that were to happen, I don't even want it in a cage.
Yeah.
I want it in like a dream stand-up kickboxing match, because I think Usman would just rearrange Jake Paul's face.
Yeah, complete with head stomps, because I want to see that head smash against the mat.
Yeah, take it.
It would honestly still depend, because if it happens on Triller, I'm still not paying for it.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, did you see where Triller's like, we're going after all the illegal streamers? Like, they estimate their losses at $100 million.
Come at me, Snoop. I'm streaming the next one. I'll give you my address.
Yeah, Snoop, your wine sucks, and so does Triller. Speaking of people that are kind of on the sucky side of things lately, Mr. Cody Garbrandt said that he'd love to get into the ring with Jake Paul. Now, we haven't seen Mr. No Love in a while, but we do know that he does have some significantly heavy hands. He is a guy who can stand up. He's a guy who can throw some heavy strikes. It's great to see that guys like him, who aren't like mainstays on title cards right now, because Cody got stomped around a little bit. I mean, he's on his climb back up, but it's good to see guys like him say, if you want it, I'll bring it to you. And the 3 men I've named so far can take Jake Paul.
Yeah,
1,000%.
I might be. Yeah. I might be wrong, but I think Cody Garbrandt was an Olympic level boxer before he got into MMA. Like, he's legit on the stand up.
Yeah, he's got great mechanics, and that's why I think he lost a couple of his fights, because he was so confident in his stand up that he just went forward like the Korean Zombie, no hands up, foreheads tilted forward. Yeah, he got served. But I think
that chin got tested.
Yeah, but I think if you told Cody, like, hey man, listen, it's a real boxing match. There's nothing else. We're just throwing hams. That old training will kick back in, and he'll be able to throw some serious bombs with those 12-ouncers on. I'd love to see it. Again, though, I would still love to see this go to an octagon. Everybody I'm going to talk about here in this list, I would love to see it go to an octagon. But speaking of boxing royalty, Mr. Tommy Fury, he's the 21-year-old brother of heavyweight champ Tyson Fury. He's a 5-0. He's 5-0 as a professional boxer, and his name has suddenly been closely tied to a potential fight with Jake Paul. I don't know if you guys watch any of Tommy Fury's stuff on YouTube. He's a scary fucking man. His hands are made of concrete, and he has no fear in his heart. I mean, watching him train and watching his boxing highlights, this is the kind of man who's going to make noise in the upcoming years in title fights for boxing. Now, if Jake Paul is dumb enough to step in the ring with Tommy Fury, the real Tommy Gunn, the not paper champ, I think that Jake Paul is going to be served a very, very hard lesson. Rocky Balboa will not come out of the curtain in the back to save your ass. You're going to get fucking murked.
I believe you're right on all accounts on that one, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I've got nothing to add.
Yeah.
Tommy's going to wreck him.
We'll straight wreck him. But speaking of wrecking, Le'Veon Bell of Pittsburgh fame, he also decided to put up a a video on Instagram showing off his boxing skills. Now, I'm not much of a boxer myself. I never claimed to be, but I've watched enough to know when something looks right and when something doesn't look right. And I can tell you, Mr. Bell, you should stick to carrying a ball because you're boxing.
He can't even do that anymore.
No.
He hasn't seen the field in how long?
Stick to jet skiing, brother.
Yeah,
yeah, man.
Stick to sitting out and fucking your career up.
And shitty rap music. I mean, that's all I can see right now. But I will give Le'Veon Bell credit. I mean, I think he's in really good shape. I mean, he may not be the athlete that we knew him to be here in Pittsburgh, but I still think that, you know, I think pro athletes are borderline superheroes until they show otherwise. So the incredible shape that Le'Veon Bell is in, because he is, maybe could make up for the lack of skill that he has. But we saw Nate Robinson think the same thing, and he got served up. So I think in all the fights that I've talked about so far, a fight between Le'Veon Bell and Jake Paul would actually be a little more even than the other fighters I mentioned.
Sadly, that's the only one for me where there's no loser. Like whoever, I hope they just double knock out each other into the grave because I don't care about either of them.
At that point, I think you're looking at like the last Triller fight we saw, the boxer from England versus the musician.
Yeah.
This would be like Jake Paul versus Nate Robinson. Like it doesn't appeal to me. Yeah. Le'Veon, just stick to what you know.
Yeah.
Jet skis.
And speaking of athletes who want to come out of the shadows and really try to get a payday for fighting Jake Paul, Evander Kane. He's another guy who's decided to throw his name out there, and I can tell you that Evander Kane scares the shit out of me. I won't want to fight Evander Kane. I don't think that he's out of the list of people here. He's the most unpredictable, but he's one of the strongest ones. I'd be pretty terrified to fight Evander Kane in any respect whatsoever. So I'd watch this fight if Evander Kane fought him. Why not?
I wouldn't be. You could just pay him off. My man's so hard up for the cash at the moment.
See, if it's Evander Kane, though, I want him in full hockey garb. I want hockey sweaters with the fight strap detached. I want Evander Kane to be able to pull that sweater over Jake Paul's head and just give him uppercuts for lunch.
Just crush him. Just blap, 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 blap.
But, I mean, my hot take on the whole thing is I think Jake Paul just needs to be ignored. Like, just let this fade out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. He doesn't need the attention. Like, just let it go away.
He is the face of Triller right now. He's kind of got to do what he's doing. Like, because Triller isn't out there pushing themselves. Jake Paul has to be the one to do it.
But, I mean, he's also been on 2 cards now, and I don't see anybody out there saying, oh, I can't wait for the next Triller card. Like, it's just let it die.
But I think there's too much of a pull because he does have the backing from all the YouTube followers that he has. I mean, it is pretty extensive. I mean, he's one of the most notable social media contributors that we know of right now in 2021. So and you can see it too, like when all of his quote unquote followers and fans reacted to his knockout, they were talking about like they've been watching boxing their entire life. To hear some punk that's never seen Ben Askren actually wrestle, the way he came up in the fight game and the things he's accomplished, talk about him like he's some fucking back alley bum. It's very telling to let you guys know that this will not fade away until Jake Paul has his face rearranged by somebody.
Well, it also didn't help that they came out in the end, whether it was fixed or not, to be right. Like Askren looked like a back alley bum. He looked like he trained at Krispy Kreme for 6 months and then got knocked the fuck out. Like, what else are you gonna say about it?
Yeah, poor Ben Askren. I mean, but he made his payday. All the videos I've seen of him afterwards, he's like playing fetch with his dog and shit. Like he doesn't care. He's like, I made $500K, man. I could care less.
Yeah, he's hanging with his kids, playing frisbee golf with his dog. Like, I mean, more power to you, man.
And his wife, she's a nice lady, and to quote Jake Paul, she thick. I wish he'd smack the taste out of his fucking mouth for saying that shit, but she will never get the chance. But I wish she could, because that fucking punk, he's so disrespectful. So breaking away from fake sports and jumping into real sports, there's a draft going on. Josh has been following the draft very closely. We can celebrate here in Pittsburgh. We got a premier running back in Najee Harris. So, Josh, my understanding is, though, that you brought some sports trivia to us because Adam and I clearly have shown on multiple occasions we have zero idea about how sports work in terms of the draft and records. And so you're going to try to see if we maybe know something.
Yeah, and so kind of to beckon off of last episode with your Florida trivia. The only thing is this is multiple choice. It's all real questions. I didn't throw any fake or true news in here. It's just standard trivia in lieu of the Bets of Doom this week because there's nothing really going on in sports except the draft. But that's not something you can really make a bet out of. It wouldn't be fun for us. It wouldn't be fun for the viewers or the listeners. So I went ahead and wrote down some questions. I did copy some from like NFL, CBS, stuff like that. But I got 10 questions here to really test you guys' knowledge on the combine, the draft, and the NFL as a whole.
So real quick, Adam, you're over under on how many questions that we get right. 5. So 5.
How many questions are there? How many questions are there total?
There are 10. So
I have 10 questions.
So I'm saying 5
under.
Is you're taking under? Okay.
Under for me. Yeah, under for me.
I
will agree that it's probably going to be under.
I'm going to break even. I'm going to try to break even here.
Okay. We'll count break even as a win for you.
It's going to be tough.
For the first one, in the modern day of the combine,
Joe
what
Namath
player holds the record for the fastest 40-yard dash? Is it Chris Archer, Dree Archer, Henry Ruggs, or John Ross?
Matt, go ahead.
The last one, John Ross.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of I'll go first next time, but I'll agree.
So you both are correct. John Ross in 2017 beat Chris Archer's record by 0.02 of a second.
Boom.
Still a victory. Didn't
Chris
come in
Johnson
second.
ran at 4.24.
Fast as milk.
John Ross ran in 4.22.
1 for 1, baby. It's all downhill from here.
That's the only one I was able to. I took a stab in the dark and researched it. I don't know anything after that.
Yeah, that we all should have known that one was coming.
Yeah.
But so for question 2, what draft year holds the record for most QBs taken in the first round? 1983, 2018, 1999, or 2012?
I'll go first, Matt, since you went first last time. I'll go with 2018.
I'm going to say 1999.
So you guys both chose the second place. Both of those drafts had 5. In 2018, you had Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, and Lamar Jackson. In 1999, you had Tim Couch, Donovan McNabb, Akili Smith, Dante Culpepper, and some dude named Cade McNown. Don't know who he is.
I don't know either.
The one that actually holds it is 1983. There were 6 QBs taken.
Oh,
Indianapolis
come on.
took John Elway. Kansas City took Todd Blackledge. Buffalo took Jim Kelly. New England took Tony Eason. The Jets took Ken O'Brien. And Miami took Dan Marino.
Oh,
Danny.
That's a
no
strong
rings.
class, yeah.
No
Danny
rings
boy.
for Danny boy.
Yeah. Danny no rings Dolphin.
I will say the greatest QB to never even play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Yeah, hands down.
I actually, for modern day purposes, I say that Alex Smith is the Dan Marino of like our current time, because I think Alex Smith ended up in a Super Bowl, but he's ringless.
I think
And
he's
he'll
the
be
Joe
on a microphone
Theismann.
come this.
I think he's a
could
Joe
be.
Theismann.
You
of
could
our
also say
career,
Phil
our
Rivers.
life.
Phil Rivers could also be the Dan Marino of
Joe
our time.
Theismann's a really good comparison given the.
Yep. The chicken wing snap, baby.
Giving that
On the
Wyman
microphone,
treatment.
old hop along.
Yeah.
So, question 3.
He's going to be carrying Aikman's luggage.
Give me coffee, bitch.
Jesus Christ. So, question 3. What team won 3 Super Bowls throughout the 90s? Was it the 49ers, the Broncos, the Patriots, or the Cowboys?
Do you want to just go in 3, 2, 1? I think we probably have the same answer.
I don't
3,
know.
2, 1. Cowboys.
Yeah, Cowboys.
Cowboys for me.
Yeah,
You
I would
both
say
got it right.
Cowboys.
Woo!
Yeah.
The 49ers were the dynasty of the 80s, and then the
Yeah.
Cowboys came in the 90s and started wrecking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause those
a little
motherfuckers broke
peek
my
behind
heart.
peek behind
Yeah.
the curtain. I was a Cowboys fan when I was a kid in the 90s.
That's okay.
So.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, Pittsburgh. I'm very sorry, Pittsburgh. I just really like Troy. Jesus, I almost said Troy Smith. Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith.
Although Troy
I
Smith
did,
was a
yeah.
quarterback.
He was, but I do. I'll tell you this, man. I was a fan
Not
of like
good,
individual
but he was
players. There was individual players I was
Me
a fan
too.
of, and I would say Emmitt Smith
Yeah.
was one of my like individual players I really liked a lot. So I don't hold it against you at all that you liked him. I also like Michael Irving a lot because he did a lot of coke.
Yeah. I like his energy.
He's just a personality.
Good old vacuum
But-
nose Irving over the middle.
I mean, but that's how I am in today with fantasy football being so prevalent. I'm a fan of players over teams, really.
Yeah.
Not the coke side. That's
was
not
ready to
today's
say-
day and age.
I was like, Josh, where are you leading this with? Do you just do blow and do fantasy football?
I mean, I'm not giving away all my secrets, but
Oh, that's why you're so goddamn.
so number
focused.
4. What NFL team features a logo on only one side of their helmet?
Oh,
Is it the Steelers, the Dolphins, the Patriots, or the Cowboys?
the Steelers.
Steelers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
because it.
Oh,
it
you
was-
made
it
this
was-
like kindergarten.
I had to throw a couple easy ones in here. I knew I had to do it.
I appreciate it.
So
but
I thought
also,
coming in-
too,
I thought coming into it was going to be all combine questions, so I thought it was fun.
Yeah,
But I know
me
some
too.
general NFL knowledge.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that it was at least somewhat entertaining, so I threw some general in there. I am starting to hit into like the combine and like the rookies now,
Bye-bye.
we're so.
I'm
screwed.
gone.
and it
Bye-bye,
is starting
good
to get a
job.
little bit more difficult.
Oh god.
So number 5, who holds the best rookie passer rating in NFL history?
Okay.
Tom Brady, Dan Marino, RG3, or Dak Prescott?
Go ahead, Matt. You can go first.
Dak Prescott.
Can I get a reread on the last 3? I got Tom Brady.
Dan Marino, RG3, Dak Prescott.
I'll go with Dan Marino.
Matt
I got it.
got it right.
Oh,
Yeah,
way to go,
baby.
brother.
Ooh.
In-
I'm doing that move that he does on the sideline when he juts his hips and all that shit.
In- In Dak's rookie season, his passer rating was 104.9, breaking the previous record of RG3 of 102.4 in 2012.
Oh, see, RG3 was my
Wow.
second guess after Marino.
I was actually
I was
between
never guessing
RG.
Prescott, though.
I was gonna say flat out, I was between Marino and RG3. And when you picked Dan Marino, it wasn't right. I was like, I gotta go. I'm thinking when you were wrong, I was like, I gotta be right. Because also fuck RG3 because he played for the Baltimore Ravens for a little bit, so fuck him too.
And the Redskins. Fuck Washington.
Now, I will say, as we get into players, these ones are more like well known. There may
Okay.
be one or two that you don't know. If you want to know at least the position, ask.
Okay.
I'll tell you the position because it might be important for one of these questions.
Okay.
So for question 6, what player had the highest vertical jump at the combine? Khalil Mack, RG3, Julio Jones, or Denzel Ward?
Adam?
I'll go with Julio Jones.
Yeah, that's my guess as well. Julio. He's the most athletic out of all of them.
And that's where I would have went.
Yeah,
Julio Jones being a wide receiver and tall as fuck.
It doesn't sound like
Khalil Mack.
It doesn't.
Khalil Mack.
I knew
with
it.
a 40-inch vertical.
Return of the Mac.
RG3 and Denzel Ward had a 39-inch vertical.
Wow.
And Julio Jones was actually in last place with a 38.5 inch.
He's fixed that. Oh, God.
Oh, man. Well, now I'm showing my true colors. I don't know shit.
Question 7. Which 2019 Pro Bowler had the slowest 40-yard time at their combine? Jared Cook, Russell Wilson, DeAndre Hopkins, Von Miller.
Oh, my boy's not there. What was this,
the first guy again?
2019.
Oh, 2019. That's
Jared Cook, tight end.
Jared Cook, tight end.
Most recently, I think, played for the Saints.
I'm gonna. Go ahead, Matt. You can pick first.
I think I'm gonna go Jared Cook. I'm gonna go with Jared Cook. I would say out of all those,
who I don't expect.
Julio Jones.
I'm gonna go with Hopkins. I'm going with Hopkins. No, Julio Jones was the choice. I'm going with the DeAndre Hopkins
for the slowest 40-yard time.
Yeah, I sure am.
Adam got it right.
Hey, I saw a swerve.
Yeah,
that's a good guess.
So
man.
Jared Cook had a 4.49.
That's quick.
Russell Wilson had a 4.53.
Got them long legs though.
Hopkins had a 4.57, and Von Miller ran a 4.42.
Von Miller got that cake.
He got that cake, son.
He got
that cake.
He got that bubble.
Okay.
Oh, here's where I fall.
For number 8, of the 4 QBs listed, who had the fastest 40-yard dash time? Was it Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Andrew Luck, or Tim Tebow?
Ooh, that's a curveball.
You think?
Yeah, that's a curveball.
You prayed to Jesus?
Dude,
you want to pick first? Or you want me to pick?
He's a legit athlete. He's a legitimate.
He might be coming back to the NFL.
Yeah, as an announcer.
Urban Meyer's trying to convince him to come back
as a tight end.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Is that your pick, Matt? Is that your pick?
No.
Say it again to me, Josh. Fastest 40-yard dash.
Say it again.
Pat Mahomes. Mahomes.
No.
Josh Allen. Andrew Luck. Tim Tebow.
Josh Allen.
Don't you dare pick. I was going to say, don't you dare pick that Geico caveman, Andrew Luck. I'll go with Pat Mahomes.
It was Andrew Luck.
Oh, that fucking. Oh, my God. Of course, because he looks like Forrest Gump. He's fast as fuck.
Well,
Pat Mahomes ran the slowest.
Yeah, I was going to say, because he has that weird saunter when he comes out to like a speed walk.
Yeah, that is true.
He ran a 4.8. Josh Allen ran a 4.75, Luck a 4.59, and Tim Tebow a 4.71.
I could be driving in a car going 80 miles an hour. I'm not beating those.
Yeah, they're still all good times. Like my 40-yard dash would probably be like 20 seconds. But
I was ready to say,
way to go, Andrew.
Fry an egg by the time I get there, so I can eat it.
Enjoy your retirement. Hope you don't have to drink everything through a straw.
Of the 4 QBs listed,
disease.
Who had the slowest 40-yard dash time? Tom Brady.
Oh, my boy.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, they're all quarterbacks.
Big Chunks. Matt Stafford. Or Jared Goff.
We're going slowest. I'll go first. Matt Stafford. He got them big club feet.
Jared Goff.
Matt Stafford.
Oh, see, I threw this one in thinking it was going to be the easy one.
Was it Ben?
No. That's what I wanted you guys to think, actually.
Nah, I wanted to think that, but I thought it was
He's got long legs.
Stafford.
Tom Brady
ran
a 5.3
That's
40-yard dash.
It's before he had Giselle. It's before he had
Ben Roethlisberger ran the fastest at 4.75.
He ain't doing that now.
Matt Stafford at a 4.81 and Jared Goff at a 4.82.
You got too many cheesesteaks in that boom boom.
And to round it out, we all know that the last pick in the NFL draft has a certain nickname that they're given. What is that nickname?
Oh, I'll know when I hear it, I think.
Is it Mr. Impertinent, Mr. Pointless, Mr. Unnecessary, or Mr. Irrelevant?
But it's crazy.
What's Russell Wilson call himself, Matt?
What's that?
Mr. Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited.
Sussel Wilson.
Yeah, Sussel Wilson. I do know this one, Matt, and we can just say it together. It's Mr. Irrelevant.
I don't know it, so you say it first so I can copy you.
Oh, it's Mr. Irrelevant. It's Mr. Irrelevant.
That's what I was going to say.
100%. I'll put all my
Mr.
savings
Irrelevant.
on it.
Yeah.
Correct. I had to look up synonyms for what irrelevant was last night because I wanted to. I didn't want to just put like Mr. Fuck yourself.
If you said Mr. Unlimited, I probably would have said it just for Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson went last? Oh, my God.
That would have been great.
So let's see. There was one for both of you. Neither of you got the QB. Adam got one with DeAndre Hopkins, so he had two.
Oh.
None of you got Khalil Mack. Matt got his second point with Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I missed that one.
You both had the Steelers with the only logo, so there's three.
Yeah. I know TikTok.
You both had the Cowboys with the Super Bowl, so there's four. You both missed the draft year.
Yeah, I wasn't born yet.
And I don't recall what Matt said on the very first one.
He got it. We both got it. Both got it.
You both hit 5.
Hey!
You would have lost the over-under had you bet that.
I think we both got it. Listeners, let us know if we're wrong. I know Matt got it.
Well, listen, I'm just happy I got.
No, we both got it because that's the one I researched. Yeah, we both got it. Yeah.
Like I said, I knew I had to throw some cupcakes in there too.
Hey, listen, we need all the help we can get.
Stats and combine.
Yeah, I mean, if you went full stats, I think we would have just told you we're not doing this segment. If you're like, okay, so like, who had the highest yards after catch in 1985? Like, we're not fucking doing this.
Well, I mean, especially like if it was based on the, based on the draft. I mean, I didn't watch any of it this year.
And I mean, I'll be honest. Going over these when I was doing it, I would have hit around the same number as you guys. I wouldn't have been too confident in myself either.
I should have picked Khalil Mack. I should have known better.
The cupcake ones that I threw out there are what I probably would have known.
Yeah. I think there's the ones that like, even like, I'm a casual fan, I'd say, for most things. I think I watch more hockey than anything. I'm a pretty casual fan when it comes to other stuff. But yeah, man, I'm just glad I can get 5 and not look like a complete, idiot when it comes to sports trivia. So if anybody wants me on their team to, come to bar trivia so I can sit there and drink beer and look clueless, hit me up, DWTB@gmail.com. I'll come over and I'll sit there and look weird. So we crushed a bunch of stuff. Looks like we all need a little refill on our beer. And it sounds like we can take a little break real quick for an ad. And we'll come right back with a little bit more of an argument that I'm going to win. Welcome back. I know you missed my voice, but you just heard it in ads. But you can hear it some more right now when we go over the Mount Rushmore of cereal. I've been dying to have this argument for a long time because you two motherfuckers keep taking dumps on Cookie Crisp. So I want to see what
I don't know why he's been waiting to have it.
Because
we always have it.
It is ridiculous that I have to constantly defend breakfast cereal to you. You attack me at every chance you get. So now we're going to put it into a format where we can finally close out this argument. I'm excited. I really am.
I think it's long overdue to get this out on the table and get it all established.
Yeah.
Finalized.
So we're going to do it like we've done the other things. We've done Mount Rushmores of other great things that we love. So today we're going to do the Mount Rushmore of cereal, and we did some rock, paper, scissoring during the break. And Josh gets to go first.
Which Matt also finished second in.
Yeah, which is fun. Josh finally won something. So Josh gets to go first. And I'll go second, and then Adam goes third, and then we'll snake it. We'll go backwards again, and then we'll just keep going until we have the final count, and then we'll put it all together and see what we come up with. So, without further ado, the Mount Rushmore cereal, and Josh finally gets to do something first. So, Josh, please go ahead and start us off.
He says this, yet I won back-to-back, and I've gone first, I think, on every Rushmore we've done. However, there's no argument that needs to be said for this. I would even go as far as to say Carp couldn't even fuck it up. And it's still better than Cookie Crisp. My number one choice.
Always attacks.
True to my heart. The one, the only Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Send it to the finals. Send it to the finals, folks.
Endorsed by none other than Thug Rose.
Send it to the finals. Thug Cinnamon. Even with shrimp tails.
I'd
eat it with shrimp tails.
It's still better than that waxy ass Cookie Crisp.
Throw lobster in it.
Put some butter in there while you're at it. I don't give a fuck.
I don't mean to cheer for another team, but that man picked a great first round pick. Matt, any words?
Just that you two should stop trying to give each other hand jobs real quick with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch thing. It's actually become quite.
But it's audacious. Cinnamony and delicious.
They are cinnamon toasted hand jobs. Thank you very much.
With a nice little crunch finish.
Yeah, because that's how the fucking name of the cereal goes. Jesus Christ. Great job explaining the cereal with the title of the cereal. It's cinnamony, it's toasty, and it's crunchy. No shit. Okay, so
as opposed to what he's gonna pick. What's your pick?
Go ahead, Nat.
What's your pick?
Go ahead, Nat. Delicious.
Hold on, no. What's your pick?
What is it? Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah,
finally. After
Matt's your second.
Grant, like you're trying to jerk off General Mills. I thought you weren't done yet. So okay, finally. I'm going to go with a childhood favorite that I've had that I still eat now every once in a while. I'm going to go with Lucky Charms. I think Lucky Charms is a fantastic cereal. Got great marshmallows in it. It's constantly a staple in my house. My kids like it. I like it. My wife likes it. I like Lucky Charms. Plus Leprechaun is funny as shit. So yeah, Lucky Charms for me. Off the rip, that's my number one go-to if I'm having a sugary breakfast cereal.
I'm calling collusion right now. However, I will not argue that Lucky Charms is not a
collusion. That's a great choice. That's a great choice.
I don't understand collusion. People like Lucky Charms.
That's a great first pick. That's a really good first pick.
It's a solid pick. Just not the one that you know that he wants to go with.
No, I mean, I think that's what I think he's voting with his heart. I think I mean, that's a solid cereal from yesteryear all the way till today. I still enjoy it. Yeah, great pick, man. Great mascot, great memories.
Oh yeah, I can't argue Lucky Charms deserves to be in here somewhere.
Yeah. So on to me.
On to you, sir.
Oh, and I get two. And I get two. So I'm going with a little bit. We were all born in the 1980s, so it's a little bit of a newer cereal. But I'm very passionate about it. I'm going to go with Reese Puffs.
Ooh, nice.
My number one choice. Yeah.
That was going to be my floater one.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah, so Reese Puffs is going in my number one spot. And then I get to pick again, right? So right tag teaming with it. A little bit of a controversial choice. Something I enjoy a little bit more in my adult years. I'm going to go with the Frosted Mini Wheats from Kellogg's.
Oh, the original or like the flavored frosting?
No, not the flavored things. The original white.
So like
frosting.
The white sugar.
Yeah, the maple can actually go jump off a boat. The maple. Really? Oh, I hate the maple.
Can I throw out there though that I do enjoy the blueberry one. I do enjoy.
Oh, that. I like the strawberry.
Yeah. I like the one where the jelly is in the middle of it, but not when the flavor's on the outside.
That's really good.
Yeah,
those are good. Yeah.
But I'm just going with the OG orange box mini though, not the big shredded wheats. You're gonna choke on those. That's not good. I like it to fit on the spoon. I like it to get a little soggy. Them orange hitters, the Frosted Mini.
See, wheats. I will even say when you size them down into like you get the small box of like the 8-pack of the small boxes, they're even smaller.
That's true. Wheats. That's true.
And you can get like 4 or 5 of those on one spoon. That's clever.
And I mean, I think the bonus behind Frosted Mini Wheats is it does fill you up. It holds you over till lunchtime, like no problem. them Reese Puffs, I'm going back for a second bowl because they're delicious, and I can fit a second bowl in my tum tum. So like, I mean, where flavor is better on the Reese Puffs for me, the satisfaction for Frosted Mini Wheats comes through, and that's why
the satisfaction level is much higher. Which, and I always say this too, and also as a guy who likes to try to not eat a bunch of sugary cereal, those Frosted Mini Wheats, you don't have to eat a big bowl of them either. There's enough to them where you can have a half a bowl and you're good to go. Like you said, take it to lunch. Yeah, great, 2 solid picks.
Yeah, and I
like what you're doing.
I mean, they're frosted, so like they're sugary, but they're the shredded wheat, so you feel a little healthy. You know you're gonna get a good afternoon BM out of it, and like, just kick that day off right.
It's like eating a salad, but having like 3 containers of ranch dressing. Like, I'm eating a salad.
That's a great analogy for it.
Yes. So, I'm going to let you know right now that I'm going to keep going with cereals that I've loved during my childhood. I feel like, I'm starting off hot with Lucky Charms, and that's really a cereal that I went to when I was a kid, still eat it now. And there's actually another cereal that I really still enjoy, and that would be the classic cornflakes. I use cornflakes breakfast cereal, and I also use it to bread chicken. I do a lot with cornflakes.
So Rooster, not Tiger.
Rooster, yeah.
He's
I don't do Tony. Tony the Tiger. I don't. It's too sweet. Tony the Tiger's cornflakes, they hurt my teeth, so I don't like them that much.
I have to say, I mean, cornflakes I like, and I do love it breaded on chicken. But I would say Tony was on my long list for like maybe top 8.
I would
cornflakes,
put him top 10.
But cornflakes wasn't there.
No,
I definitely had Frosted over corn. I mean, but a strong choice, a classic choice. I believe Mr. Kellogg developed that to prevent self-love back in the day. So,
yes,
I mean, a strong choice.
Thank you. I'm showing my adult side with my second pick, I think.
It's a very adult choice. I mean, as adult as I'm going to get is Frosted Mini Wheats. So you upped me by one on your pick there.
So it's coming back to me on a back-to-back, right?
Yes. Yeah. You got 2 and your second and third. Yeah.
So on my second spot, I'm also gonna adult it up a little bit because as I've gotten older, I've started moving out of your more traditional kids cereals. I do like them from time to time. I'll eat a bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch whenever it's available. But if I'm going to the store and I'm buying cereal to like keep at the house, I'm normally going with the Honey Bunches of Oats.
Ooh, that's a
solid choice.
Adult.
And it's
strong adult
normally going to be the original, just with a little bit of honey sprinkled on it. You got the granola crusters with the cornflakes. Don't get me wrong, I do like some of the flavors, but none of them stack up to just your original orange boxed Honey Bunches of Oats.
Hey, man.
Good choice. I have nothing. Yeah, I have nothing to say against that. Little safe, a little boring, but a solid choice. It does lean a little adult, but it's a solid go-to.
It's like a third line grinder. You need one on your team if you really want to excel to the champion. You need a third line grinder, and that's honey. That's honey.
Absolutely.
With my third choice, we all like to slum a little bit. I mean, it's happened. We've all been that last person in the bar from time to time, picking up what we can.
Let's come up.
It's more of a defensive pick here, because normally I'm arguing against this every day of the week, but I will put Cookie Crisp in my third slot just to get the satisfaction of Matt not having it.
It wasn't in my Mount Rushmore.
I will say it used to be good.
It used to be fantastic. The 90s Cookie Crisp, delicious. Nowadays, they added some wax to it, probably to keep it fucking fresh through the apocalypse.
Like most other cereals do that too.
Like a Twinkie.
Twinkies got bad.
Twinkies got real bad. They're terrible.
So I will sacrifice one of my other picks, and I will go Cookie Crisp here.
Well, I'm glad to see that you finally decided to put a good cereal on your list. That's good to see.
Matt, I hope that didn't wreck your picks.
No, not at all. You would have been surprised if you wouldn't have tried to blow this whole segment up by picking Cookie Crisp for your lineup, that it wasn't even in my Mount Rushmore, because that was my swerve. But I do thank you a lot for bringing it, into the highlight here. It does deserve a spot somewhere, and I'm glad that you picked it, Josh, especially because I do know you love to slum the shit out of things. So to have Cookie Crisp in your lineup, just really... thank you for helping it and taking that from me. So thank you.
We all met my first wife.
We just double turned on
That's
you,
fine.
and then you triple turned back. I didn't see that coming either.
Yeah, you can't double turn on me.
You can't double turn, triple turn.
How the turntables.
Jesus Christ. So to my third pick, because I like to stick with nostalgia. It's where I like to live, because those were simpler times. Nothing was better than waking up on a Saturday morning knowing I was going to watch a lineup of sick cartoons and getting a nice big bowl of Pops. The Pops.
The corn
Pops.
Corn Pops. That's a strong choice. I thought you were going to steal.
Corn Pops were sweet.
Mine.
Corn Pops were sweet. They were good in milk. They were good dry.
No.
I loved them. They were a great little snack.
So
I enjoyed them.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion. That's fine. However,
yeah, and you pick Cookie Crisp. How dare you?
Those fucking things just got too stale way too quick for me.
That's why
if you didn't eat them in like a week, they were inedible.
So
is there a reason why you just hate everything that I like? Is there just like everything that I like? You're like, I don't fucking like that.
I agree with you on Lucky Charms.
Yeah. I will say that was a childhood favorite of mine. I will say, and I want to reach out to the listeners and you two as well. Corn Pops came in a different bag than anything else. They came in like that bag. More. Yeah. It was more like a Mylar bag than a plastic bag. And that,
because they had to try to keep them fresh.
So, I mean, when they were fresh, they were banging. They had like glaze. They were so sugary.
Did not stay fresh long enough.
That's why my mom was smart when I was a kid, and she used to get the resealable things for every cereal we got.
Those Tupperware suckers. Yeah. My mom had those too.
So my mom had that, and we would toss the Pops in there, and they stayed fresh long enough for my borderline type 2 diabetic pre-adolescent ass to eat them as quickly as I possibly could. I never had a stale Pop because Pops didn't last too long in my house. So, and there's reasons for that, because they were delicious. So for my third round pick, I'm going with Pops.
So I got my third round pick in the chamber, but then I got to pick my fourth round, and my fourth round is going to be tough, everybody. So bear with me. But for my third round, I'm going with a throwback that you cannot get anymore. But I ate boxes and boxes of it as a kid, and I have a picture of it pulled up on my phone for reference for you guys if you don't remember it. But it was the Kellogg's Cinnamon Mini Buns cereal.
Is that a box of cereal in your pants? Or are you just happy to see it now?
Those things were dope, man.
Yeah, Matt, you remember them?
Oh, so,
I mean, as a kid, like, those are the best. I wanted to come with a strong vintage choice that's not around anymore, and I couldn't come up with anything better and more nostalgic than the Cinnamon Mini Buns from Kellogg's is my third choice. And
solid pick.
Hey, Kellogg's, bring them back. Come on, man.
Where's that retro line at that would sell millions and millions of boxes of cereal?
But don't wax them up like them Cookie Crisps.
Yeah.
Or them Twinkies. Yeah. Don't do that.
Don't wax them up like Cookie Crisp, otherwise Josh will pick them to consume. Thinking that I want to have sex with the box of them or something.
Don't slum.
I'm pretty sure you do.
You picked them. I didn't.
I'll send the screenshots.
You don't have those screenshots. We agreed on that.
I'll Chinese masseuse this shit and send the screenshots like Brett Favre's mistress.
Oh my goodness. Them are some tiny Cookie Crisps.
Yeah. Cookie Crisp.
So, like, So for my fourth pick, it's really tough. And I really want to run down everything I'm thinking of. Because it's a real conundrum between like adult cereals, new cereals, old cereals, sugary cereals.
I'm in the same boat.
It's a really tough fourth pick. Like there's so many good ones out there, but I'm not going to list them off. If one of you say them, I'll say, hey, I was thinking that, and you can call me a liar if you want. But I'm going with a more modern one that just blew my socks off as an adult for no reason other than it was bad for my health, and it's Oreo O's. Is my choice.
Sleeper.
Yeah.
Sleeper.
So Oreo O's.
I don't even think about those.
And anymore. I think they were here, they went away, and now they're back, from what I believe.
Yeah, because Oreo does crazy stuff.
Yeah. But those Oreo, I mean, I love Oreo cookies. We'll get into that in a future Mount Rushmore. But Oreo O's as a breakfast cereal was incredible. And that's my top four right there.
Solid top four.
Yeah, Matt. What's your next one?
I'll be honest with you. Every cereal we've mentioned here thus far, aside from Cookie Crisp, I would love to have every morning. Knowing that Josh can have that for himself, all by himself, is fantastic. So I won't touch that. So Josh, it's all yours.
He's saying this, but I think it was the last episode or 2 episodes ago.
Yeah,
we talked about that breakfast bracket, and he fought hard for Cookie Crisp then too. So listeners, don't forget, sir.
So here's what I want to say, Josh. It's crazy how susceptible you are to me planting an idea in your mind. I constantly talk about it. So you think I have my hooks in
for an entire year and a half. He's been trying to fucking plan this one segment.
Yeah. And you bit on it. You put it in your lineup.
Okay.
I didn't.
Okay.
I'm just saying. Mind fucked. Thank you. I get my own TV show saying mind fucker, Matt Anderson.
Matt Angel. Mind fuck.
So Josh is right. I do love Cookie Crisp, and I would have put it on my list, and I would have loved to have done that, but he did steal it. But that's okay, because it is a good cereal to me. I do enjoy it, and people who make fun of you for the things that you like are assholes. So
I never claimed to not be an asshole.
So I would say that when it comes down to a cereal that I really like, and it does play into nostalgia. I love.
My man's gonna come up with some kombucha shit.
No, Count Chocula. Oh, fucking Chocula.
Not gonna lie, that was on my short list for my fourth pick.
Josh, just because I eat a salad every once in a while doesn't mean I'm some fucking hipster, okay?
I eat a salad daily, but
finish your statement. Well, I don't know where else you're going with that. I eat a salad daily. I drive a car daily.
Do you?
Yeah. I don't need to be driven to work like you. So
I don't have to drive to work.
Yeah, I know. So
God.
Josh, with your
so to bring it back for my fourth pick, I was definitely thinking in the chocolatey realm of cereals, and Count Chocula was there, along with another one that I don't want to say in case it's Josh's last pick. But
my fourth is already set.
I went Oreo. Is it a chocolatey one?
No.
Okay. So it was between Count Chocula, Oreos, and Cocoa Puffs for me on the last one. So I'm really glad Count Chocula is making an appearance on.
Count Chocula is fantastic. I mean, it hit all the cylinders for me as a kid. I loved horror movies as a kid. I loved cartoons as a kid. I mean, he was such an over-the-top character of a vampire. And who doesn't like chocolate? Who doesn't like cereal that turns your milk into chocolate milk?
Right.
So it hit everything for me.
And marshmallows.
And marshmallows. And they tasted funky. And I think that's another reason why I really liked it too, because they didn't taste like marshmallows. It tasted like something else. I don't know what the hell it is, but I loved them.
And you picked 2 marshmallow ones.
He did.
I did. I like a good marshmallow in my cereal if I'm not trying to be healthy.
I did too.
With cornflakes.
You did
juxtaposition there.
honestly, one of the only ones that you stole from me was Lucky Charms would have been was in my Rushmore, and you stole that one.
Yeah.
So
you're welcome.
Good job on your first round.
Thank you.
So to close it out, I was a little all over the board on this fourth pick especially because I sacrificed one. But I was looking across. I did have Cocoa Puffs in the running. That was one that I was thinking of. The Oops All Berries from Captain Crunch definitely made an appearance in my mind.
That was in my running for sure too.
I mean, I like a nice Rice Krispies, just a plain Rice Krispies. But if you put them in the treat form, they were even better.
Oh, I missed one. Yeah, Rice Krispie treat cereal. Oh no,
that was
one.
really good.
Oh no, what an oversight! I fucked up.
What that cereal did to your milk was ungodly. It turned it into sugar sludge, which
it sounds like that's going to be all of our like special mention.
Holy,
across the board, we're all just going Rice Krispies.
It was completely out of my. It was completely out of my mind.
Didn't even think about it. Didn't even think about it.
But where I landed, I'm going newer with this. And what really put that thought in my head, I know that when you pull the picture up, it's an older cereal, but this cereal plays off of another item that's actually been around for a while. And it's brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts cereal. Yeah. It's got a nice whole wheat outside with a nice little chewy, like cinnamon brown sugar inside. It tastes like a Pop-Tart in the milk.
Yeah, I've had that and the strawberry version of it.
The strawberry is really good too.
Good. Yeah,
but I prefer, as even in terms of Pop-Tarts, I prefer this brown sugar cinnamon one.
I will say it's a good cereal, but you did yourself no favors by bringing up the Rice Krispie treat and then like down. And I feel like you downgraded. Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's a strong choice, but like when you brought up Rice Krispie treat cereal, and that was a shocker, and that was like, oh my god, I can't believe I didn't think of it. I want to like cut my tongue out for saying Oreos now, but
Oreo cereal is good though too.
I mean, but the cinnamon Pop-Tart cereal is a strong choice. It's a very good modern cereal. Like,
and it's not too kid-ish, not too adult-ish. Like it kind of floats like right in the middle there.
It hits that nostalgia.
Yeah. The adults like it for the nostalgia purpose, and it is like just a small version of a Pop-Tart. The kids like it because it's got enough sugar content behind it. It got the sweetness that you want out of it, but it is actually somewhat healthier too.
All right. Well, we are closed up on our picks then.
Yeah. So now we got to go for the overall. And I think we all kind of decided, I mean, I handshake agree with that the Rice Krispie treat cereal is the honorable mention across the board.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Wonderful cereal.
I would even go as far as to agree, because we normally do that the best four gets 2 picks in the final Mount Rushmore. Mm-hmm. I would even go as far as to say we don't even need it this time.
Well, no, I think we need it. That's how the game goes, though. That's how the game goes, though. Like, so we got to see. I don't really know who has the best. I mean, I will not vote for myself. That just seems conceited. And given that Josh picked Cookie Crisp, I have to pick Matt, even though he picked cornflakes. I almost want to pick myself. I almost want to pick myself because cornflakes is solid, but it's kind of like it's kind of like a middle of the road. It's safe.
It's very safe. I admit.
But I feel like a real jerk to pick myself.
And that's fair because we normally say we can't pick ourselves on this. So that's fair.
Are we not allowed to pick ourselves?
Well, I'll break this for you. If I had to vote for a person, it'd be Adam because I feel like Josh and I threw a pick at each other to rib each other. So,
all right,
Adam took it 100% serious, and then Josh and I decided to shotgun the fuck out of each other during the segment. So, Adam, you win.
So this is exactly where I wanted it to come down to with my Cookie Crisp pick, because only the second pick can go from any list. And I know for sure Adam isn't putting Cookie Crisp on that final mountain.
Yeah, which is fine.
So my vote for the best list is going to be Adam.
All right.
I agree.
Too. Yeah. Well, let's just thank you guys. I appreciate it. I did take this serious.
The Oreo O's kind of put me on there for you.
I really appreciate that. I take a lot of pride in my breakfast cereal eating. But I say for our final Mount Rushmore, since it went this way, let's just go in order. Josh, you pick your final, and then Matt, and then I'll pick 2 at the end here.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'll run with that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no debate for me. It's
Cookie
Cinnamon
Crisp.
Toast Crunch all the way. That's number one in my heart, number one in my mind, endorsed by Thug Rose herself.
Number one in your heart, number one in your programs, folks. Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Coming in strong.
I'm glad you picked it, or else I would have had to pick one off your mountain.
Well,
Matt?
if Cookie Crisp, or if I didn't take the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I would have taken the Rice Krispie treats.
Yes. Yeah.
Maddie,
For sure.
who you got?
The one and the only Count Chocula. I think it holds up. I think it hits all the cylinders for adults and kids, for nostalgia and for sure content.
Swerving
it was
us
Lucky
again.
Charms.
I thought it was
Thought
going to
it
be
was
Lucky
Lucky
Charms.
Charms.
Yeah.
Lucky Charms is a staple, man. If I'm going to sit here and talk about Desert Island cereal, I'd rather have a nice big bowl of Count Chocula on that desert island every morning. So Count Chocula, baby. Vampires for life.
So I'm not going to lie. Going into it, I thought I was definitely going to pick Reese Puffs as my final Mount Rushmore. I mean, it was my first pick. But reeling back on this nostalgia, I'm going to have to go with the cinnamon mini buns from Kellogg's.
Oh, yeah, man.
R.I.P., but you're in my heart. You're in my soul. So you're hitting my pick. And then for my overall last pick, you're both right. It's going to be the Rice Krispie Treats cereal.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. It was overlooked through the whole draft. Josh, thank you for bringing it up at the end. Sorry to Reese Puffs and Oreos, because you guys would have been fighting it up. But Rice Krispie Treat cereal, yeah. Again, nostalgia. Don't think it's around anymore. Wish it was.
No.
And I think those are both Kellogg cereals. Kellogg's, come on. Bring my childhood back. So, yeah, that's the final. We're going to go with Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Count Chocula, Cinnamon Mini Buns, and the Rice Krispie Treat cereal. And I think that is a phenomenal, sugary, breakfast, nutritious.
Nothing really healthy about it.
Part of your balanced breakfast Mount Rushmore.
But if you guys know us at all, we're all thick boys. So it kind of makes sense.
And who the hell? I mean, we all came from very humble upbringings in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Remember the commercials where it was always part of your balanced breakfast? And you had a glass of milk and a glass of orange juice?
And like a banana.
My house never had 2 drink options for breakfast. Sorry.
I didn't even have a drink on the side. I just had the fucking cereal.
Yeah.
And I drank the
You
milk.
drank the
like
milk,
a
and that
fucking
was it.
person should.
Yeah.
I want to go as far as to say fruit. There was no fruit in my house.
No.
My mom was a single parent raising 3 assholes at the same time. There was no fruit. She fed us with sugar until we crashed and burned. And then she put on violent television to put bad thoughts into our brains so we wouldn't be mean to people because we knew what would happen to us. Yeah, it was fruit. There's no fucking fruit in my house.
The only fruit in your house is the peach schnapps.
Yeah, exactly. Jesus Christ. And there was never any of it left because my mom would chug it all.
I was gonna say those blueberries in the cupboard was his fruit,
But he was a chocolate man.
I was a chocolate man. Yeah. We were poor as shit, but we always had Count Chocula. Thank goodness. Thanks, Mom. Appreciate you. That's why I'm thick now.
But hey, man, yeah, guys, thanks for doing that Mount Rushmore with me. It was a little passion project of mine. I got real into it this week.
Long overdue. I think it's always fun to go over the things that we like from all facets of our life. I was going to say the one thing that I was going to ask you guys, you ever had a bowl of the Good Spoon? Like that cereal that's actually not that bad for you?
I don't even know what the hell that is.
I've heard it in podcast ads, but I haven't had it yet. I've wanted to order it. Have you tried it?
I got the sampler boxes. There's three you can get in a sample box. Sampler, like little 8-ounce boxes. Right. And they were all actually not bad. I mean, they're not like gonna knock your socks off, but it's like 2 carbs per serving and the sugar's super low. There's a good flavor to them. I wouldn't put it on my Mount Rushmore, but if people are like, I can't take the sugar bomb, that Good Spoon's actually pretty good. I did enjoy them. Like
from the ads and from the pictures I've seen of it, it just seems like Kix with like different flavors on it.
That's exactly what it is.
Is that pretty much where it's at? Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You know what? Then that wouldn't be that bad. I like a good bowl of Kix every now and then. So
yeah, I did like the peanut butter Kix.
Peanut butter Kix.
Those were real
shit. Yeah,
those were real good.
So before we dive too far into nostalgia, make this a rewind. rewatch podcast.
Let's just do a second Rushmore. Let's go.
Yeah, just take it right back in. This is our B project.
Rewind.
So I want to know, guys, if you're ready to enter the news corner.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So there is an article that's been making rounds on the internet where a woman was charged with a felony for not returning a VHS tape. She wasn't aware of this till 21 years after the videotape had been rented. So a woman from Texas, she doesn't remember renting a VHS tape 22 years ago, let alone that she didn't return it. And the place she rented it from shut its doors more than a decade ago. But the unreturned tape led to her being charged with a felony. Not only a felony of theft, felony embezzlement of rental property. It is a tremendous felony charge that can stop somebody from obtaining employment, which is something that Ms. McBride said, that she had worked 2 and 3 jobs at a time, always being turned down from bigger jobs when she put in her application and completed interviews. She didn't know that this felony charge was in existence until finally someone said, hey, you have an active charge. You need to make this phone call. And when she did, she found out that she was on the hook because one tape of Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, had gone missing for over 2 decades. How would you guys like that you're getting a felony embezzlement charge because of Sabrina, the Teenage Witch?
I mean, what a way to ruin your life over Melissa Joan Hart, right? Like, oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
I mean, ask fucking 15-year-old me. I might think about ruining my life for Melissa Joan Hart.
But yeah, I mean, crazy. Because if that pops on a background check, they don't have to tell you. Like, whoever told her is a saint.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't even know how much detail you get in a background check. It might just said felony embezzlement. That's it. Like, not for an unreturned tape over a decade ago. Like, so I feel for the poor lady. And I saw in a follow-up article that she's blaming a guy she was dating at the time for renting it on her card and stuff. So it possibly wasn't even her fault, which is even worse. But yeah, it's nuts. I don't know how long it has to be gone for it to become a felony, but
a felony embezzlement.
Boy. Yeah.
So the angel of saving grace comes in the form of the beloved Department of Motor Vehicles, because Ms. McBride tried to go and renew her license back on April 16th. She received a response from the DMV stating that, hey, here's a case number, here's a phone number, you gotta take care of this. She was quoted to say, I called it, and the lady who looked up the reference number and told me it was a felony embezzlement charge, I thought I was going to have a heart attack, which I can agree with that. But looking further into this isn't the first instance of someone being charged with a felony for something of this nature. Similarly, in 2014, a woman from South Carolina was at the sheriff's office for other matters when she found out she had a warrant for an unreturned 2005 tape of Monster-in-Law. She had to spend the night in jail because her bond hearing couldn't be held until the next morning, and that's when she was released on a $2,000 cash bond.
I'd definitely rather be accused of stealing Sabrina than Monster-in-Law.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not by a far stretch, but by enough.
But marginally, but it's enough to count.
Yeah, it's enough.
Yeah. I think if someone was like, hey, Sabrina the Teenage Witch is going to be the reason why you go to jail, I'd be like, oh, well, at least TGIF finally caught up with me.
Right.
I mean, I made fun of the lineup when I was a kid, and it's only fair that Melissa Joan Hart takes a part of my life like I made fun of part of hers. So it's just, we're even Stevens. Thanks a lot.
Well, what hurts worse about that is Sabrina is now on, I think, Hulu.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. You don't even need the tape anymore. Just stream it.
You pay $5.99 a month for limited commercials, and you can watch it all you want to.
Get Verizon and get it as part of your plan.
There you go.
I mean, not only that, but in 2005, when that poor lady watched Monster-in-Law, she probably pulled it out of the VCR and burnt it on her front lawn and didn't even realize that it was so bad.
Yeah.
What a terrible thing. She should get $2,000 paid to her for watching the whole thing.
Yeah, I was ready to say that's cruel and unusual punishment. I think they actually use monster-in-law during Blackwater, unethical torture of insurgents. So
Little Guantanamo monster-in-law.
Yeah, it's exactly it. They waterboard them and have the soundtrack in the background, and people just spill information. It's ridiculous. Everyone thought it was Metallica in the background, which is equally ear-splitting, but no, it was monster-in-law. Just so I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the Vatican has had a serious issue with its employees accepting gifts.
I bet
they did. It got to the point where Pope Francis had to issue a law that forbid anybody that worked in the Vatican from accepting any gifts over $48. Now, I'll be frankly honest with you. I didn't read this whole article because I kind of think that the title is of what it is. Like, you can't take gifts over $48, which is a very specific number. But I want to ask you guys real quick off the top of your heads, what is the funniest thing you can give a Vatican employee that they have to take if it's under $48? They have to take it. All right, Adam. So what about you?
I think like a really nice Swedish black death metal album, preferably on vinyl, because that'll be like over $18. So I think the Catholic Church could really like learn a little bit from some Swedish black death metal.
Yeah.
Again, on vinyl, over $18. Yeah.
So I'm thinking that for me, what I want to do is I want to go back to something that makes it very difficult for you to accept my gift. So if you go to Spencer's, they actually have ping pong balls for $1. I'm going to buy 48 of them, and I will throw them one at a time at the one Vatican employee that I choose, and I'll just keep throwing them. They have to take it, so I'm throwing them, and they have to go collect all of them. It's like click, 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 click. They're just 48 ping pong balls just all over the place. And I'm like, go chase them, God boy.
It'll look really funny with them bending over chasing them in their robe, too.
Yeah. With those weird sandals.
Yeah. And their cool hats. The hats are cool, though.
The hats are really cool. Yeah. Is this Ghost? Are we watching Ghost right now? So, speaking of ghosts.
Oh my God.
With Dark Side of the Ring premiering soon on Vice, season 3, I found a funny little excerpt about Mr. Brian Pillman. Rest in peace. Flying Brian Pillman, the loose cannon. So I found out through some pretty routine research that Brian Pillman was quote unquote fired by the WCW as a part of a wrestling storyline, as kayfabe, as everyone likes to say. Brian got very smart and said, hey, can you fax me a real release form to increase the realism? So he was going to use it as a prop during all the filming. Since all the proper signatures were on it, he then used the document to escape his contract and wrestle in another promotion. So it goes a little deeper than that because, as you guys know, nothing that anyone says in wrestling can be true off the rip. So it has actually been written here. The reason why he left, or he was ousted from WCW, was that Pillman outed Mr. Kevin Sullivan as a booker during the February 1996 Super Brawl 6 pay-per-view in a strap match, I Respect You strap match. It's almost like an I Quit match. When Pillman lost to Sullivan, he grabbed the microphone and said to Sullivan, I respect you, booker man, which outed Sullivan as the guy who books all the matches, which means he predicts all the outcomes. At that point, the ever fallible dumbass Eric Bischoff in his biography said that he fired Pillman so he can go and develop his loose cannon gimmick in ECW, then return to WCW with more legitimate heat. Bischoff claimed that it was a plan and he and Pillman came up with it together, and it would later backfire on Bischoff as Pillman did not return.
Yeah, I remember all of that. I mean, some of Pillman's best promos. I think he was injured at the time when he went to ECW too.
He was on the commentary team when he first came on.
Yeah, but some of his best promo work was in those ECW things, gaining a character, coming out of that Hollywood Blondes, Flying Brian bullshit and becoming something a little more real. And I did some research on this, and fun fact, so he went from ECW then to, since he was fired, WWF at the time picked him up, and he was the first wrestler to get a guaranteed contract from WWF because WWF didn't want him doing the same thing to them and going back to WCW for more money. So, little fun fact, he broke a bunch of walls down. He was an innovator, just by being kind of swarmy but very intelligent. And he was the first guaranteed contract for WWF.
Yeah.
So I'm a little fuzzy on Brian Pillman as a whole. This is the guy that was in the feud with Austin.
Yes.
And like the gunshots. And shit.
Right. So they were former.
Yeah,
they were former tag partners in WCW, and then they brought that to WWF without really mentioning it. So like the smart fans knew, hey, they used to be partners. And they got into that hot feud. And it was the one where Austin broke into his house and he had the gun and then it cut the feed. And it was super content. I mean, they made great money together.
And that was kind of like the whole kickoff of the Attitude Era.
Yeah, I mean, it was right at the beginning for sure.
Yeah, we were watching PG style wrestling leading up to Brian Pillman really infiltrating and breaking fourth walls a lot too. I know that Steve Austin is known as the original boss beater because he beat the shit out of Vince McMahon at every turn. But Brian Pillman really went against the grain at all times, which made him a hot commodity, but a hot potato too, because bookers were like, can we trust him to follow through with what we said? Promotions were, aside from WWF, were like, we can't keep him here. We don't know if he's going to stay. So I say all that to say, I can't wait to see what they do with Dark Side of the Ring, because I think Brian Pillman's career is fantastic. He was a genius. He knew how to reinvent himself, and he reinvented himself in very specific, concise ways that made him very relatable to people who were watching wrestling at the time, and he ebbed and flowed with what people wanted to see. So as people always say that Steve Austin was the true innovator of the Attitude Era, I would like to contest that and say that Brian Pillman was the usher that led us all into the aisles of the Attitude Era to let Steve Austin conduct his play for the many years that he was a figure in the WWF and then the WWE. Rest in peace, Brian Pillman. Your son's doing a pretty good job in AEW doing the Hollywood Blondes right now, or Varsity Blondes, I'm sorry. It's good to see he's carrying on your name, and that the WWE did not stand in the way of him using your last name. So that's really cool too. So kudos WWE for one thing.
Yeah, and I will also thank him for ushering in a more realistic era of wrestling away from the cartoon characters we had in the quote unquote new gen era of WWF, WWE. And
Sergeant Slaughter didn't do it for you?
No.
I was a big Doink fan.
Yeah, I was gonna say Doink versus Dumpster Drozy didn't really do it for me.
Not Doink versus Dink.
But just for everybody to check it out, the Brian Pillman Part 1 episode will be airing May 6th on Vice. And then it will be followed by Part 2 on May 8th, also on Vice. So check them out. I think it'll be an hour each night, 2 hours total, maybe more. It might be an hour and a half each night. I'm not sure. But it's a great docuseries for pro wrestling. My wife even enjoys it. She's not into wrestling at all, but it's just a really good take and a good docuseries on the carnival that is pro wrestling.
Yeah. The business of pro wrestling is literally a drama that would be written for primetime television. So when you get to peel back the curtain and see how some of these men and women were manipulated, or how they manipulated the system to get where they needed to be, I mean, it's fantastic. Dark Side of the Ring does a great job. Vice does a great job. I couldn't recommend this enough for people who aren't really even wrestling fans, because it's just really good writing and really good research. And you get to hear from some of the most recognizable figures in professional wrestling, and get to hear their stories, and it's fascinating.
Yeah, great interviewing on the show.
And I'll even add in that if you miss it on Vice on those 2 days, Dark Side of the Ring is actually airing on Hulu.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah,
yes,
perfect.
and I know,
Yeah.
and I know a bunch of the past season episodes are also available on YouTube for free too. So.
Yeah, New Jack.
Many
baby.
ways to catch it if you want to see it.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, tons of avenues. Check it out. We highly recommend it. New Jack and the Owen Hart episodes are my favorite. So I love those ones. So leading into telling people what they should watch and listen to having you guys ask us what we should tell you. We have some emails, questions, and then, some comments. So first and foremost, I'm going to read an email here, and this one's actually a lot of fun. So real quick, I'm not from Pittsburgh, but my wife and I are coming to the Burgh for a week in the summer. Hopefully COVID is calmed down by then and you can have this good time. What are the breweries and restaurants we should not miss out on when we are in Pittsburgh? Adam, I think you went to a couple places today.
Yeah, I did hit a few places today. As far as beer and food combined, Cinderlands, they have a couple locations around Pittsburgh. Look them up. There's one in Lawrenceville, one in the Strip, and one in Wexford. Great food, great beer. That's a great one. Local to me and a personal favorite is Alexion's Bar and Grill. If you're looking for a classy dive, I will call it, sit at a bar, get a good sandwich, get some good craft beers that are state local and some craft beers nationally known. If you're more exploring into the craft scene, that's a good place to go. As far as breweries in general that I love in the area, Couch Brewing, Abjuration Brewing, Inner Groove Brewing, and I don't know. Oh, so many. 11th Hour, no,
Yeah.
Hitchhiker, Insurrection for food and beer as well. Yeah, Insurrection's incredible. And if you're a little south of the city, Mondays in Washington County, hit them up. Great beer. They got good food surrounding that place too. So I mean, you can't go wrong. Do a little research. The ratings don't lie. We do not have many bad breweries.
Yeah, it's tough
and
to
if we
find
did, I
one.
wouldn't mention it here. But I don't really think there's one that you should avoid. Go explore, find your own path. But there's a little guide. And when you hit these breweries, if you ask the workers there, the brewers there, what else there is available, they'll guide you in the right direction. They're all friends in Pittsburgh. So.
There's also a thing too, like if you're looking for something online to give yourself a little bit of guides, isn't there like that Laurel Highlands passport or something? Yeah,
Laurel Highlands has a passport, and me and my wife actually just picked one up for the city of Pittsburgh. Has a passport that they just started a few weeks back.
So those things are incredible. I know my wife and I followed the Laurel Highlands one, and we were able to get around some really cool places. And just to add on to Adam, the one place that I like to go to a ton for good food and good beer is Voodoo. I think Voodoo has a bunch of spots all around the city too. Their food is usually on point. I've never had a bad meal there, and those guys are legit when it comes to brews. I mean, I usually have a 4-pack of something in my fridge. Good Vibes is in my top 5 beers. Love that place, or love that beer, and I love that place. And selfishly, up around me, Connie Creek is a great place to go for some more traditional style beers. And the smoked wings are just on point. I really love Wing Wednesdays. Great place to go. So if you want to go outside of the city a little bit and find a little hole in the wall place, Connie Creek fits that notch pretty well.
Yeah, and as you were talking, I overlooked too, because I don't get downtown too much. But especially if you're catching a game down by the stadiums, 412 Brewing and 4 Points just opened up their location this weekend down there. So
4 Points is awesome,
and they're a block from each other. So please go check them both out. They're both really good local up and coming breweries with great beer and good food trucks. So check them out too.
Yeah.
Oh, this question was actually kind of enlightening for me because I only moved back to Pittsburgh a few months ago, and before I left, I wasn't even old enough to drink. The craft beer scene wasn't really popping. So, I mean, I really can't add much. I mean, outside of the breweries that you guys named, I'm still trying to check 90% of them out.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you want, I will always endorse going to the original Permanis downtown. Not necessarily because of the food, but just the story and, the history of
the atmosphere.
Yeah, the atmosphere, the history of it. And it's not bad. I will say the hype around it might not meet your expectations if you talk to somebody from Pittsburgh, but it's a solid sandwich. You get everything you want on it. And it's kind of like a part of history of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it is the staple of Pittsburgh. It's renowned in our area, and they franchised a bit, so they are in other states. But
correct, I wouldn't go to another one if you're coming to Pittsburgh and you want somewhere to get a quick sandwich. Go to the original one down in the Strip.
And I will tell you right now, word of advice: when you get the sandwich, do not try to say you want it another way than how it comes, because that does not go well. The soup Nazi shit is legitimate when it comes to that sandwich shop, and there's a reason why, because those sandwiches as they're created are fantastic. Read the menu, know what you want, and know that sandwich is coming the way that it says on the damn menu.
I mean, off the bat, I'm going to recommend a capicola with a fried egg.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's the strong choice there.
A hop between that and the pastrami quite often.
Yep.
Yeah.
I am a huge fan of whenever they have the hot sausage back on, like to put that on there.
Yep.
That's one of my favorite go-tos, and the turkey sandwich with a fried egg. That's another favorite of mine.
Amen.
The only other place that I was going to recommend was that pierogi bar in Pittsburgh called Stuffed.
Oh yeah, great place.
As you guys were talking about this, I googled it. Google says it's permanently closed.
Oh no!
Right? Yeah. And I mean, pierogies are like a staple of Pittsburgh itself, with Polish Hill. Another great option, because you can go to any grocery store and pick up some Mrs. T's, and they do the trick, but there's nothing like a homemade pierogi.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so seek them out somewhere else. We'll have to find another place.
I'm sure there's somewhere around here. Go knock on some doors in Polish Hill. I'm sure somebody's cooking them up.
You just knock on the door like, pierogies in the house, and they're like, you want a dozen? Do you want 2 dozen?
Yeah.
Make it 5 and don't make eye contact with me.
That's right.
So a real quick question from somebody was, we want merch. What's a comment? We want merch. Fix it. I can tell you right now, if you want to see merch from this podcast, I have a truckload of stuff coming to the wrestling event we are doing, the Brews and Bruises Festival. I have a ton of stuff that I'm bringing to that. So if you want merch and you want to get your hands on it first, I'm not revealing what it is until we get down there. And then I have another surprise that I'm going to unveil here in a couple episodes for merch that hopefully people get excited about. Because much like anything else, when we put something out, the best way to support what we do and help us be better is to help us out by buying merch. When you buy merch, it puts money in our pockets so we can get better stuff and we can bring better content to you. So keep your eyes peeled on all of our social medias and come see us at Brews and Bruises Festival and get your hands on some of the stuff that I'm bringing. If you want it, it's going to be there. So
hit that bash brew table.
Yeah, hit that bash brew table, baby. We got all kinds of gear. It's going to be that mashup, baby. Also, too, if you guys want merch, don't just say you want merch. Tell me what kind of merch you want. If it's something that you're itching to have, if it's something beyond t-shirts, then let me know, because I would love to. If it's something fun that I've never thought of before, I'd love to see if I can piece it together. So let us know. If you want something fun, I'll try to get it going. So a question here for all of us, and I think this is a very proper question for us, especially since we are 10 episodes in and killing the game. Everyone's looking up on top of the mountain where we are, and we are trying not to piss down it. So what podcast do you listen to for inspiration for what you do, or just in general?
I mean, are we going like comedic or like life inspiration?
I think it could be anything, because off the rip, I'll say, like, last podcast on the left is a podcast I like a lot, because I just like, it's comedic, but it's also inspiring, like, life wise, because they are a grinding crew that started from nothing, and now they built the LPN, the Last Podcast Network. They are their own bosses, despite the fact they're Spotify exclusive, but they're still their own bosses. So yeah,
I will say, for local ones, I'd say the Daily Sip and Hot Nation USA. Both of them are slightly more interview based than we are, but very inspirational on just where you can go with a local podcast. And Hop Nation does a lot of fun games and a lot of fun segments on their end. And Dennis does a really good job interviewing his folks he has on from breweries and beer related other businesses and a lot of entrepreneurs. It's truly inspiring to listen to some of the guests he has on. On a national level, I would go with Ryan Sickler out of California, out of Tom Segura's podcast. Kind of
honeydew, baby.
Yeah, the honeydew. He's a great interviewer, a great personality, and just really one of the best. He came into podcasting like it seemed out of nowhere, but just turned into one of the greatest interviewers there are. And to go hand in hand with that, Tom Segura doing his Tom Talks, he has some really inspirational guests on, and it's kind of eye-opening. So those are, a handful of choices I have.
Oh yeah.
Josh? So there's really like 3 that I've really been getting into recently. I'll peruse, like I'll listen to an episode here, an episode there of some, but the ones that I really like follow and go back through and like go episode 1, episode so on and so forth. Barstool has one that they do called Call Her Daddy.
Oh yeah.
And it's 2 girls that are out there just killing it in the game. And then one that I just found recently is called In Bed with Nick and Megan. So it's Nick Offerman and his wife.
Oh yeah.
I have heard about that.
Yeah. They've got quite a few episodes out. I think they started at the end of 2019, and it's just a laid back, like, speak from the heart kind of podcast. And both of them are comedians by trade, so it's pretty funny. And then so I do a lot of like watching things on YouTube at night, and one of the channels that I really follow is Good Mythical Morning. They ended up letting their like kitchen staff do a podcast, and it's called A Hot Dog is a Sandwich. And they do a lot of the kind of stuff. Like I get a lot of inspiration on segments that we talk about from stuff that he does. Like he does food versus food kind of deal. And then we've been tossing around other segments that I've pulled from Good Mythical Morning. Something like, hey, this is a cool concept. We can take the idea of it and kind of revamp it to fit us and what we do. But A Hot Dog is a Sandwich is a good one to listen to too.
I definitely enjoyed Nick Offerman. I think he's uniquely hilarious. He has that sense of humor that delivers at different levels. I really enjoy what he does.
But it's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's dry, but it has a ton of substance to it. It's really funny. As for me, I like the weekly recap. That's one I've been getting into a lot lately. Really good banter. They're not afraid to say what they want, which is really cool. They have no problem saying what they do and do not like. And it's not, they'll say like, I don't like this. They'll say, I don't like it because of A, B, C, and D. And they'll go in depth about things. I like that a lot. I gotta concur with Adam. I love Ryan Sickler. I think he's the best interviewer. I'm amazed that nobody like a major, distributor like ESPN or something hasn't looked at him to be a sideline person. I mean, he's legitimately one of the best interviewers I've listened to in a long time. They would ruin him.
They'll neuter him. Yeah,
they would ruin him. I would say the one show that I can't not listen to on a weekly basis is Bad Friends from Bobby Lee and Andrew Santino. It's such a crazy mashup of styles because Bobby Lee's been in the comedy game for decades, and Andrew Santino is still like he's been in it for a minute, but he's not as well seasoned as Bobby Lee. And to hear them go back and forth and the way they can improv with each other, and I mean it's fantastic. It's just great comedy. I love it a lot. But if I had to say like a serious one, There's a podcast I listen to called Black Girl Gone. I think I mentioned it before in other podcasts we've done here. They're based out of Philadelphia, and it's true crime podcasting, but they go over like missing women of color, and they kind of crack open the cold case and go through details. It's awesome. I mean, it's important work, number one, because it's not something that you often hear about, people of color being abducted and cold cases aren't being cracked open, but just the level of study and research they do amazes me, because it's a weekly podcast and it is delivered with significant amounts of information to where I've been reaching out to them to just see, like, how do you guys actually find the time? Is this your full-time job? And they keep me guessing. They're like, maybe, and winky face. But great job, a Black Girl Gone podcast. You guys kick ass over there. But also too, we're open suggestions. If you guys listen to something and you find it to be inspiring, or you think it's funny as hell, we need to listen to it. Just like everything else, you can throw it to us in our email, decayingwtb@gmail.com, or you can find us on all social medias at decayingwtb on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Let us know. And I love listening to new stuff. I'm what they call a quote unquote super listener, where I have like 15 different episodes lined up throughout the week, and I'll pick and choose which ones I listen to. But speaking of picking and choosing and things that you need to have in your life, Adam Bashline continues to bring you the best brews in the burg. So Adam, can you please tell the people who are listening what's on tap?
Yeah, big shakeup this week. It's not going to sound like your typical lineup. We have Jojitorium, the 9.3 double IPA, premiering in the tap room this week. On tap number 2, we have nothing. It'll be a hoppy pilsner once everybody gets back from the draft and stops being an asshole. On tap number 3, we have the Mom Jeans Mimosa Ale. It'll be available this Sunday. Get it for the mommies you love for Mother's Day. It's a week ahead. You got a week to plan. I'll be here handing it out. Let me know if you want some. Hit them socials and DM me.
With brand new art from
First
coming. Lady of Brews.
Yeah, the labels are ordered. They're on their way. And on the 4th spot, we got the Drunken Donut, Jelly Donut IPA. Your mom will probably like those too, so get some of those while you're getting the Mom Jeans. And I mean, we got some crazy stuff coming up out of the brew lab. Starting next week, we'll be brewing again. I think we're going to come up with a heavy hitter IPA on the next one, so stay tuned. So
again, we thank you guys for listening to us. If you want to find out what Adam is doing here down in the brew lab, you can follow him at @bash_brew on all social media. You can also follow him on Untapped. Please do not forget to check out the socials to see what we are throwing up on the kegs at any given goddamn time. And also, if you want to see what's going on with us here in the podcast, we are Decaying WTB on all social media. That includes Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we are always open to your emails, comments, and questions at our email, decayingwtb@gmail.com. So from the Jojitorium, from the boys, until next time, cheers.
Thank you, Matt. Cheers everybody. Guys.